the biggest problem with new IIMs that I was told would be there is that they don't have an alum base. So the network becomes a problem.
Do you think an MBA is necessary to become a product manager?
Just to give a blunt response, do you need an MBA for product management? The answer is no. The problem with most of the B schools is that the courses are still aligned to certain traditional verticals like finance, operations. Obviously, there are courses, but again, industry training is definitely missing. You have to be really good at your craft. You have to build the product management craft. If you have done really good projects, if you know things inside out, you understand the consumer, you have foundational first principle thinking, things are going to work out for you.
We have Arnav Sharma, who's a senior product manager at Flipkart. So please give him a huge round of applause. There's a lot we can cover with his session here. Awesome. So Arnav, again, I want you to introduce yourself and then we'll slowly take the conversation ahead.
Hey guys, nice to be here. Actually, I wanted to share a lot of my experiences, but I'll start with my introduction first. So my name is Arnav. I currently work in capacity of a senior product manager at Flipkart, especially in ClearTrip. ClearTrip is one vertical in Flipkart. My journey has been fairly diverse. I started as an engineer, moved into product management, had a flavor of B school, that too from a new IIM. And then I went through diverse domains. So I started with Byju's education, moved to ShareChat, looked at different personas in terms of, let's say, the new Bharat, the next billion users. So I was building for them. And then I zeroed back to travel again because that's a category I felt that I could create tremendous impact. And that's been my journey till now.
From engineer to
Engineer to a product manager right now.
Okay, straight away did the transition or did you have some step before
I
that?
did an MBA in between. I can talk about it.
Yeah, that's the angle that I wanted to kind
Sure.
of double click on.
Okay. I graduated in engineering. I was an electronics and communication engineer. I was also sold this vision that if you take EC, technically you are eligible for CS companies also, but that's not the case. Anyways, I happened to get my first placement in a company called MakeMyTrip. It operates in the travel domain. This is back in 2015. Now, so everyone would know what MakeMyTrip is all about. So when I was starting there, I obviously was onboarded as an engineer only. My biggest problem there was that I was executing things. I was given a problem statement. I was told this is what you need to build. Then we have to look at the technical architecture, the constraints, and figure out what exactly we can ship to the end user. But what was missing was the entire picture before that. I did not even know why exactly we are building this, for whom we are actually building this. Sadly, that's the problem with our ecosystem also, that not every stakeholder in a company empathizes with the user. So this how is something that I was working on, but why we are building, why now only, why it is being built in this fashion, that was completely missing. So I was fortunate that I stumbled across this group of product managers. So I was operating in the flights domain and I was working with really good product managers. So I just spoke to them that exactly what are you doing? So when they actually gave me a complete glimpse of what they're actually doing, I thought that it's a very chaotic space. They are actually telling that they are literally taking a product to the market. They are literally the mini CEOs, but they don't have anyone even reporting to them. So that was a very confusing state I was in. I'm saying what kind of role it is. But then gradually when I started to work with them, I actually started getting a knack for product management. And I was clear in my mind that this is one space that I want to pursue. And within MakeMyTrip itself, I got an opportunity to transition into product. But then what happened is, I still felt that I was hitting a ceiling in terms of, let's say, my career growth there, because all the people around me were coming from these fancy business schools or, let's say, a really kick-ass experience. I wanted to venture into that space. At that point of time, I had an MS in mind. Actually, I was trying to go for a couple of really good US schools, but unfortunately, it didn't pan out due to some personal reasons. And I had to actually look at Indian B schools. At that point of time, my best option was a new IIM only. So it was a leap of faith that I actually took. Now, the biggest problem with new IIMs that I was told would be there is that they don't have an alum base. So the network becomes a problem. I decided that's okay. I know what exactly I want to do, but still I want to explore. So I completely went with an exploratory mindset. I knew there is something called product management that I like. But before I even go there, I wanted to eliminate the other options. So my entire agenda behind going into a MBA program was this only, that I am able to cover the width and then I'll go into the depth. So what happened is when I landed at IIM Visakhapatnam, I actually did it from, it's called a baby IIM, but again, now we have completed 10 years. But that turned out to be the best decision of my life. I'll tell you why. There are people who are put in the same situation, but they react very differently. So what happened with me was that I decided whatever is the scenario, I can't go back and change my history. What I'll do is, if I'm here, I'm given an opportunity, I'll make the best use of it. Whatever the constraints might be, I have to emerge victorious from this situation. So I went with a very explorative mindset in IIM Visakhapatnam. We were actually treating it like a startup. I decided that I'm going to try each and everything, whether it's student council, whether it's different activities, whether it's case studies, whether it's case competitions. I'm going to try it out. So the first year, I used to register myself for literally everything. That actually increased my confidence. I used to be a fairly introverted person, but I was really, really exposed to so many things that after a point of time, you develop tough skin because you know that you have a goal in mind and rest all is noise. So that's how I actually ventured into this space. My IIM experience, I tried to explore courses in operations, finance, even product management. Obviously, our curriculum is not aligned to these roles as of now. And nowadays, these colleges are evolving and they are actually bringing these courses into the picture. But previously, that was not the case. So I tried everything. I just took a single product management course during my MBA. I was actually doing a finance major. Seriously, that was happening. But what happened is, when you look at the kind of companies that are actually coming, right, it is also a matter of luck. I'll tell you that you might be the best candidate out there, but if it is not your day, it's not your day. And there are very limited opportunities you are going to get. So I'll suggest that you have to look at what's next. If things are not falling in place for you, you have to do what's the next best thing that you can actually do. Because if you start obsessing with what's happening in the past, then you're not going to move forward. So that's what happened. I had explored multiple options, even got a job in consulting domain. But again, product management was my calling. And I was looking at external interviews also, and I cracked one of them. And it was around the most passionate domain that is very close to me. It's education. It's the field of education. So I thought that the education is something that needs to be disrupted. It's been the same conventional way of actually teaching for quite some time. And that's a space where disruption can definitely happen. So that's how I actually started. Again, product management is something that has stuck with me for the past 7 years now. And I feel confident that day and day, I'm actually becoming more and more comfortable. But again, at the same time, I have to constantly be on my toes and upskill myself because I always fear that I can become redundant. And that's the problem with every other domain. If you become complacent with what you know, you are not going to exist. You are going to perish. Just look at the kind of pace that we are actually going with. Still learning, have accomplished certain things, have shipped out really, really good products. But every day I'm looking on to something new. And that's been my journey.
Okay, so I'm just curious now, since knowing that you know now and doing what you do now, do you think an MBA is necessary to become a product manager?
I can take this question because I myself was in that situation and I took the MBA route. But there are instances where people who have not done an MBA have also made it. So just to give a blunt response, do you need an MBA for product management? The answer is no. I'll come to the why. See, what MBA does is it will give you that starting platform. You will get that ignition to actually go and venture into the space. But once you enter, it's on your skill set only that whether you can prevail or not. That's how it matters. The problem with most of the B schools is that the courses are still aligned to certain traditional verticals like finance, operations. Obviously, there are courses, but again, industry training is definitely missing. So, product management is something that you might not learn in B schools. You might get exposure through the alumni. There are certain courses or certain insights from guest speakers that might help you. But eventually you need to figure out how my profile is getting suited to product management. There are plenty of instances that people just out of engineering colleges have also become really, really good product managers. They're heading product teams. So an MBA is not essential. What's important is how exactly you're getting that specific role. Like I have plenty of instances where uh, people have directly pitched to startup founders. What might happen is that you might not start with really, really good companies. Yeah, you might not start with companies like Google or Microsoft if you're not coming from a big B school, but you might start at a space where you are getting a lot of freedom to understand that role and do a lot of execution. And that experience will start counting after a point of time. Let's say after 3 years, if you're applying for a product management role, you will have plenty of juice in your profile. You'll be able to defend a lot of things versus someone who might have operated in a very specific domain only. So that way, after a point of time, you'll reach that juncture. And I'll say that I have people who have not done any kind of MBA or a B school degree or any kind of masters also. They are actually prevailing in this domain. Like I have people who are in my team and they're doing really, really well. So it's a matter of preference. It's not mandatory.
Really appreciate an honest answer on this. Just curious to know, since if I were a recruiter, how do I gain this confidence that even if you are not doing an MBA, then I can still consider you for that role? So, what are some other aspects probably that they look at?
See, when I'm recruiting someone who doesn't have an experience, it becomes very difficult to evaluate you from a product management role point of view, because this is one role that cuts across different verticals. You have to deal with literally every stakeholder that's there in the company. You have to drive on a vision. Like people say you are the mini CEO, it's true. And no one is actually reporting to you. That's the biggest problem. So you have to get your work done. It's like inspirational leadership. Like you need to inspire people to actually align on your vision. And that's why chances of a person coming into the product management domain without any experience is slightly difficult. What these B schools do is that obviously they have that kind of pedigree, they have that kind of alum base, so they do prime the students in those B schools to at least be ready with that first step. They have these APM programs, and usually that's how the system is meant to be. But what I'm actually telling is that if you are a recruiter at a startup, it's the intent of the person that actually matters. You might transition from any other role into this role also, and if you have a knack for it, you will prevail. So that's how it functions. If you are a fresher, it'll become a problem. But let's say after a point of time, once you have attained 1-2 years of experience, what you have done matters a lot. Everyone is at the same level. I'm repeating this again. You have to be really good at your craft. You have to build the product management craft. If you have done really, really good projects, if you know things inside out, you understand the consumer, you have foundational first principle thinking, things are going to work out for you. But again, it'll take time. You might need to start from a different point, but you will reach there. And from a recruiter point of view, after a point of time, brands do matter, B schools do matter, but not for all companies. People will definitely appreciate the experience you bring on the table. And that's what matters. Like, I don't care if someone is coming with a fancy degree. If he or she can't prove his worthiness for a specific job, he or she is not going to be hired. End of story.
Perfect. So one more question before I break in for Q&A session.
Sure.
What are some key roles and responsibilities you handle as a senior product manager at Flipkart?
So I primarily operate in the travel space. So I lead the entire B2B travel business for ClearTrip right now. And on the B2C side, I look after the growth. So basically the top of the funnel for B2C customers. Like if people are coming onto my platform, right from acquisition to activating those users, getting them to perform the first transaction, that rolls up to me. So that's how it functions. But again, I need to be at the center stage because I have to interact with engineering, I have to interact with marketing. So I'll explain the journey first. Like I'll just try to tie it with how a product manager functions. So what happens is that a product manager is responsible for solving for a pain point. Like you go out there, you look at what is the biggest pain point my customer is actually facing. You actually try to make a case around that, where you'll take qualitative data, you will take quantitative data, and you try to build a hypothesis. And then you try to disapprove that hypothesis. And when you're actually trying to solve for that specific pain point that might roll up with that hypothesis, you end up creating a space where the company will benefit a lot if they venture into that. So a product manager also makes a business proposal at times in ClearTrip that happens, you pitch it to your leadership team, showcase that there is a business opportunity around that, get alignment from all the stakeholders, your business team, marketing team, engineering team, and then you try to ensure that there is a business goodness coming out of that. And that's where you actually start. So I have done a couple of projects around that as well. But a product manager needs to be the custodian of the user. Like if my company is doing really, really good, I can solve for that problem, but it needs to tie with the business objective. And that's what we try to do. So in case of B2B, we look after the corporate clients, the corporate travel. Let's say if someone in company X needs to travel, the entire travel management for that specific company rolls up to us. There's a travel agent business. The travel agents actually work with us, consume our content. There's an API business. Let's say if you are working with a specific portal and you try to book a flight or a hotel, the content gets powered by us. And on the B2C side, our application where any B2C customer can come and avail these travel options. So that's my profile here, basically.
You mentioned in your MBA journey, you explored various subjects. So how did you pick the project management is the one you should be pursuing in the future and not the other fields?
I'll bust the myth. People say that you need to be tech oriented, you need to have technical skills to become a product manager. That's incorrect. That's only the situation in India. The moment you say that technology is not my forte, I'm not going to step in there, I'm not going to empathize with them, that's a recipe for disaster. You are not going to prevail in that environment for sure. If you're attending a product conference and you don't connect with more than 10 people, that's a failure.